What is going on, everybody? This is Coach Coleman, Jesse Coleman, and you're checking into another episode of Breakthrough Blueprint, the podcast where we help you tap into your full potential. All right, so you all know if you listened to last week's episode, every damn thing was deleted. Like everything was gone. Past episodes, future episodes, it was all deleted. And my guest today is somebody that I had recorded, which was funny that her episode was going to be released this week and well, we know it's gone. But I look at it like this, and somebody highlighted it for me, and they said, "Hey, maybe it was everything happens for a reason. It was a reason why those episodes didn't go out, and you get the opportunity to redo those episodes, and you get to spend extra time with the people you love, and get to dive into it. So that's what we're gonna do." This week episode, so I have a young lady who I look up to for a lot of things. She's my person. I go to her about a lot of stuff, and she does a lot of dope things. So I want to highlight a few things that she does, and she has a company called REN, real estate and real estate marketing, right? Where, as you can see on the screen, if you're looking on YouTube, she said she lets it be known, discover your brand, curate your marketing, all with REM. Dreams do come true, where she can help you set up, not even set up your brand, but if you're looking to do a rebrand. I mean, I went through her boot camp, and what you see for this podcast, what you see for Coach Coleman, all this came from her and her company and her taking the time to help walk me through things. Y'all know I'm a high D, so she was patient with me, helped me go through things. I reach out to her like, hey, what about this? What about that? And she's always there to help. And not only that, she is an amazing real estate agent out of Charleston, South Carolina. Buy, sell, invest. She can help you do all those things. And on top of that, if you're thinking about a career in real estate, she's your go-to person to talk to about that. Travels across the country, teaches classes. She pretty much does it all. And when I say does it all, but she do it at a high level, it's not the BS where some people do things and they don't do it at a high level. So without further ado, my friend, my person, Winnie Rodgers. Winnie, how are you?
No, I'm good, honey. How are you? I'm nasally, but I'm good.
Good, good, good.
This pollen is hitting me.
Oh yeah, it's that time of the year, and
Yeah.
it's gonna hit Chicago soon, and I am not looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I mean, the lucky thing is it's 80 degrees today in Charleston, so I'm not mad. I'm not mad, but yeah.
Yeah, we're finally getting to that weather, so I am excited about that. I'm happy about that. And let the people know, talk to the people, Charleston, let people know about you, then we can dive into some stuff.
Okay. I'm Winnie Rodgers. I'm an agent in Charleston, South Carolina. As Jesse said, I teach and train across the country. It's one of my favorite things to do. It brings me joy. One of the things I love about kind of this industry and what we do is that we get to, build that life by design. And what that means is I get to recruit and teach and train. And also like my clients are amazing here in Charleston. So, yeah, I feel like I've like found my calling, by um, by kind of having like a multi-pronged approach to real estate and branding and all that kind of stuff. So it's been awesome.
Good. And for the people that's listening, I want you all to realize something like there are very few people that I've met that can read me, right? And I can actually count, I don't even need one hand to count people that can read me. Besides Winnie, there's one other person that I've met that can read and feel my energy and let me know and be like, hey, I know you're bullshit and I know something's not right. And Winnie's one of those people. And it's funny. So, we had a chance to see each other in Vegas for our real estate convention. And when it was like, "Oh yeah, something's wrong with you," and I'm like, I'm okay." She's like, "No, something's wrong with you." And then we finally got a chance to talk about that, and I'm like, "You were 100% right. Something was wrong with me." And just the fact that you were able to read me to know that is just crazy. Because so many people be like, I just can't read you. I can't get a feel of what's going on." So. How did that come about? Like, is that just like you learned that, or that's just your natural thing where you're able to read energies?
It's so funny. Like I've been thinking about that so much lately. So I'm like most people, like I lead with my brain. I value my intellect. I'm logical, I'm rational. I mean, let's be honest, none of us are as logical or rational as we ever freaking think that we are. Like that's cute. Like that's cute that we think that. But a couple of years ago, I was just like I was going through some shit and I felt like something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And I was like something doesn't feel right, blah blah blah. So really what I did, I hired an intuition coach, a sacred feminine intuition like somatic coach. And so it's funny cuz like it's such like a hyper specific thing that I hired somebody to like help in my world. But one of the things is like one of the things that I told her was I was like I feel like my brain is so noisy that I can't hear my heart. I can't like sense things happening because I'm too like what about this? What about this? What about this? Like I'm just trying to like analyze everything. So like so it's so funny like one of her like techniques is if I start to like rationalize something in my head, she's like, okay, I just want you to take your brain and float it up to the corner of the room. And I want you to tell me what your body feels. And I'm like, the fuck does my body feel? So like we worked together like pretty closely for about a year and a half. And so that's how some of that came about. But the deal is like that's Earth's language. That's our language. All of us have this language. And sometimes it's just like kind of quiet, right? It's whispering. It's not as loud. It's not as noisy. So we each have it. And so it is like it was legit like a muscle that I started to develop was this because I would not say that it was like a natural gift at all. Like some people can like read energy or read colors or
Yeah,
no, I'm like I couldn't before really. And I'm still
yeah,
tapping into it.
yeah. I was like, damn. I'm like, I usually am able to get away with things because again, I know how to when I shut down. I know how to make it where people can sense like, okay, maybe something's up, but you are like, yeah, bro.
I'm also a bulldozer. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, what's I can tell. Don't lie to me. But like I feel like I like bulldoze the living hell out of you.
what,
But
but
it's because I
I
love you. It's because I
yeah.
care.
And I was just gonna say that's one of the things I do value about our friendship is that you know you can do that, and I have I don't want to say, yeah, I've been willing to say, okay, I'll accept that from you because of our relationship where you have free reign to bulldoze me and like, bro, what the fuck is going on? You're not right. Something's going on. What's happening? And, not too many people I give that openness to, but we just have that connection. And it's funny because we had a conversation that we had to just pretty much for me to go into a lot of things. And I was telling you, like, man, up until we had that conversation, it was just weighing on me. I just felt so down, like, I gotta talk to Wendy. I gotta talk to Wendy. And then when we finally was able to have that conversation, it just felt like I've been in such a great space since then.
Aw.
Because again, you are one of those people that I look to, like, this is my person, so I want to be able to talk to her about anything, right?
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful.
I know. Well, and how cool too, and I know we talked about it that day, but like how cool too that you allowed me an opportunity and like we created that space for one another to be able to, like be vulnerable, be open, be honest, be candid. Like I feel like it takes a lot of courage to be super honest. It takes a lot of courage. And I'm just gonna like go on a soapbox for 1 second, but I feel like that's like a really big thing that a lot of people are lacking these days is courage, like courage to be yourself, courage to be honest. Like you can be honest and be respectful, and kind. And it's like a lot of people are just, we're living for other people, so we're just like, well, what are they going to think? Well, how are they going to react? And it's like, no, you have to trust yourself just so intensely that you have the courage to be brave and be honest and and be vulnerable, just like what Brene Brown says.
Yeah, and the big thing about that too is when it comes to you is you're not one of those people that judge. You're not one of those people where I will feel like should I, say this? Should I, open up and let her in? Because I don't have that, I don't have those thoughts about you like, okay, I can't,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, sharing these things. So it made it easy. And until still to this day, I'm still like, okay, there's more I can be more open about. There's more I
Mm-hmm.
can have conversations about. And just for so long of me being the way I've been, it's just like it's a little struggle to go ahead and break through that. But you make it so much easier for me to be able to do those things, right?
Well, thank you. I think like one of the things, and I don't know if it's like as we grow older or just as we like dive deeper into who we are, like deep in our guts, like who our subconscious is and all that kind of stuff, is like we have an opportunity to have such wide emotional range. And I was talking to Spencer the other day about this. And I was talking about, if you've ever known in your life 0 to 10 or that 8 box of Crayola colors, right? Then that's what you know, that's your range. But when you think about like emotions and vulnerability and candor and like all of these things, it's so vast. I mean, it's infinite, right? It's the universe. It's infinite. Like, and the combinations of all of these things that you can sense and feel and be and experience at once. And so you also have like you have an ability, you have a large emotional range because you're intelligent, you're empathetic, like there's all of these like places within you, you're warm yet you're direct. So there's so much of you, you have a wide emotional range, and therefore it's easy to hold space for you, and it's easy to bounce back between like fucking around and being silly and goofing around to also just like getting deep like in a corner, and like having like a one-on-one or a heart-to-heart or whatever. Like we have that range and we can drop in and drop out like easily.
Yeah, that is very true. And a part of that, and we talked about this when we recorded last time, and a big part that I do why I feel that comfort with you and that openness with you is you invited me in your home. Like we had dinner. Like I met your father. I don't take things like that for granted because I know your space is your sanctuary. You make sure your energy and where you live is the right energy. And for you
Mm-hmm.
to be willing to open it up and to let me come in and meet your family, share, like I said, had dinner, just had a great time. When like we were already close, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, like when that happened, it was more like, okay, yeah, like this is for real, my friend. Like I really look at
Yeah.
her deeply like that because you are a person that protects your energy, right? And
Very
for
much.
you
Yeah.
to do that, it was like, damn, this, yeah, I rock with her for real,
Yeah.
right?
Well, like we have so many, especially like with Keller Williams and with KWYP, like we have so many incredible relationships. Like we really do. And a lot of them, it's like it's just deepening. It's just deepening the depth, the richness, the range of your relationships. There's some people that I'm like, person is freaking cool, but I haven't broken bread with them, or something like that. So, like we had the opportunity because you were in town, and I'm like, well, I want to host Jesse at my home. Like, and for me, like anybody that comes to my home, if you're on this is my father's land, so which is really special to me. So like if you're at my home, then you're on my father's land, you're worthy. This is how I see it, of like also meeting my father, and like and he's worthy of the opportunity to like meet you, as well. Like it's important for me that it's like holistic and integrated, like
Yeah,
as you deepen the connection.
yeah, it was pretty dope. And for you all that's listening or watching, when I say this land was amazing, like we went, I call it four. I've called it the four wheelers. Like we had the four seater, right?
Yeah,
We
it's a
went
Polaris side by side.
right the side by
Yeah,
side. She took me through the trails, and then we went to a spot where we just sat out there, watched the stars, just talked. There was a few other people there, and we just hung out and kicked it. And I'm like,
we
man,
didn't
this
even
is
talk
dope.
during part of that.
No,
We
we
just
didn't. We
sat
just
there with no fucking noise, just
yeah,
listening to the earth, man. That was so cool. The lake was like glass.
it was completely pitch black out there. Everybody' phone was off, and we was just there, just enjoying that energy, that space, that time. And again, that's something I don't take for granted because I know what that is, right? So let's pivot a little bit where breakthrough blueprint. We talk about challenges and breakthrough, and me and you've had conversations about challenges that we both experienced and things that we went through. I want to know for you, what is your techniques? What are the things that you do when you have situations, shit happen? Because what we know can go wrong will go wrong. What is your contingency plan where you're able to keep things moving in the right direction?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know one of the big things that has shifted with my contingency plan is I used to just trust me, myself, and I.
Mhm.
And like if something went wrong, I would be like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to logic it out. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to figure it out. It's going to click one day. And one of the really big things that I started to do was like be really intentional about who my guides, I call them my guides, like they're my advocates, board of advisors, my besties, whatever you want to call them. Like one of the really big things that I've done more lately is spitball with them and allow them the opportunity to challenge me, because what I know to be true is that I'm not always right, even though I kind of think a lot of the times I'm right. But so I do that. I definitely now like go in nature, dance around my house like a dum dum, like listen to music, I take a bath, like I do really like nourishing things for me where I'm alone, but then I'm like bringing in my guides, bringing in additional resources so that I'm not coming from like a deficit place or a place of lack or a place of scarcity. So just like really, like it took a while though to figure out like what some of those things were, like a breathing technique, or like I need to go to yoga, or I need to listen to like loud fucking angry ass music right now, like whatever it might be. So those are some of the things. But yeah, my new thing is actually talking to people. Wink, wink, Jesse.
It's funny because it we joke about this where like we are just like the same with a lot of shit, and that's one of the big things for me of where I internalize stuff so
Yeah.
much where I talk to my own damn self, like I don't talk to nobody else, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's
And
worked for us for a really long
yeah,
fucking time. We've been successful. We've been able to get through a lot of the shit. So it's
yeah,
worked
yeah,
until it doesn't.
exactly. Then it's like, okay, I guess I do have, and it's about that vulnerability part too of like, okay, I guess I have to be vulnerable, but the struggle has always been of, are you being vulnerable to the right people?
Yeah. Yes. And that's where some of that intuition comes in, and that's where like having a couple other guides come in, because like I've definitely been vulnerable to the wrong people before,
Yeah,
and like not had the space held for me, and at the end of the day, like you need somebody that's stronger than you and that'll put you in your place maybe, but and also somebody that knows your heart. Like, because like I can be really direct and quick, so can you. So we can come off maybe a little bit abrasive. And it's like if you don't know my heart, then you don't know the context by which I'm coming from. Same with you.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I did, and I do feel that connection with you because for one, I need that direct and like, no, this is it.
Yep.
You were wrong, A, B, C, and D. No, no, it's not that way. That's not what the way you're thinking is not it. Like I need that because that's the only way I'm able to operate. It's like I need you to be straight to the point with me, right? And it's the same as you. Like I've had times where it's such a struggle for me to open up to people. So when it happens and shit doesn't go right, I'm like, this is exactly why I don't open up, and this is why I
Totally.
just do everything myself. But I've seen the difference in a positive way of having the right people that you can have conversations with, where it does make things a lot more easier and you're able to adjust and deal with the situations because you have the right people you can talk to about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes time, I guess, to like develop that. And I know, at the end of 6 Person Perspectives, the Keller Williams course, they talk about, who your board of advisors is, having a spiritual person, having a financial person, like having these folks in these different spaces, because we can't be everything to everyone, right? But also like identifying where's a gap, like where's a gap in in my board of advisors, and maybe being conscious about seeking that out. And I think a lot of people, like, we read books and we listen to podcasts, but we're not having two-way conversations. Like,
Yeah.
we're just learning and we're just using our brain to spitball ideas, but we're not actually getting that feedback. That's what my coach calls it, feedback. It's like feedback from somebody that might call you out, might change your perspective.
Yeah, that feedback is key because again, the conversations we have with ourselves, we are our own worst critics, but we're also very lenient with ourselves when it comes to certain
Uh-huh.
things. And we will bullshit ourselves and gaslight ourselves with
We totally
situations.
do.
Like situations happen, and I've done this very recently. Like had these thoughts, and I would gaslight the hell out of myself about
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I
You
was
try
like,
to convince yourself otherwise.
yeah. But
Yeah.
having that person, their board of advisors, the people you can speak to, they call you out on that bullshit. Like, no, no, it's not that. Like, you're trying to let yourself off the hook when, honestly, yeah, it's not that. So that's pretty, yeah, that's important about having that. Right?
For sure.
All right. So I asked this question before, and I usually ask all everybody this question of your non-negotiables, the things for you, the things of
Mm.
filling up your battery, because what I know, and we've talked about this, is that we fill up everybody else's battery, we charge everybody else up, that we neglect ourselves. So what are the things that you're doing for yourself? And if it's a work in progress, what are the things you're looking to implement to make sure you're filling your battery up?
Yeah. So I've been working with my coach. My coach is technically, I guess, a business coach, but a metaphysical coach. So really that just means like super integrated with like mind, body, spirit, and all that. So I have high level accountability for what I do to fill my bucket every week. So I have essentially a habit tracker app, and it's called Balance Game. And so we talk about breath. So I just ran a little like earlier today. So breath work, breathing, aqua, lengthen, anaerobic, nutrition, cleanse, and energize. And so just as an example, energize, one of the things I do is dance. I just like to dance around like a little dum dum. And it's so funny because I will tell you right now, if my brain's off, if I'm not feeling so hot, if I'm not like in just like this flow state, you can always tell because I stopped dancing. And I'm like, oh, it's like, Winnie, when was the last time you danced? Or when was the last time, think about like, what is one of those things for you? Like, when was the last time you ran or something like that? It's like, shit, well, it's been 2 weeks. No wonder you're off. No wonder you're off. So like I do start my day really slow. My first appointment isn't usually until 10, because I do value my sanctuary, and I value, my time and all that. One of the things, like, at one point I kind of was so focused on the stuff that I was telling you about before, the balance, that
Yeah.
BALANCE. I was like super not socializing. I was like, I have work to do. I have like projects, and I have, fitness, and I have like my mental health, and I have my spiritual well-being, and like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, shit, like my social garden is like super got weeds in it. And so it's kind of funny. Like that's been one of the things like I've been focusing on this year, is like making sure, like, I mean, I'm a social butterfly. Like I like to chat, I like to bop, I like all that kind of stuff. But like, and I know you've called me out before if I'm not socializing a lot. You've been like, hey, Winnie, is everything okay? Because
Hmm.
that's one of the things that I need to fill my bucket, because I'm an energizer bunny rabbit. So if I'm like low energy, then like something's
Oh, yeah.
up. But I am like pretty darn intentional about it. I do think that if one opportunity that I know I need to do and I know that I should do, and I use those air quotes because anytime you feel like you should do something, it's not necessarily true. That could just be society telling you that you need to do something. And I think I'm resisting it because I do need to lean into it. I think I need to journal or
Well,
write. I think I need to do that one. And it was funny. I was talking to Antoinette. I see her name is right behind you. Like I was talking to Antoinette, and she's like, "Have you ever thought about writing?" Because we were having a deep philosophical conversation. Shocker. And she's like, "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like every fucking day." Like, and it's like the more I do that, so that's like one of the things too that I know would continue to like elevate how I pour into myself so that I can then of course be more and have more and give more and all that kind of stuff for everybody else.
all
What
right.
about you?
Well, first I want to unpack some stuff there, and
Okay.
the first part is I love Antoinette because it's funny because we had that conversation, and she was like, because I talked about journaling, how I started journaling, and she gave me the idea of like you need to be more purposeful about your journaling. You
Mhm.
need to be more purposeful about what you're writing because what you're writing, your journal can be turned into something where you can help other people without you physically going to teach or you're putting out videos. Like you
Right,
can
so
have
you can
an
help even more people at once.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's funny that she brought that up and said that. And then also about the part of just the journaling in general, where it's like once I started doing it, and I say this in class, it's been and you as an instructor, as a teacher, it's that whole starting to realize, hey, I'm practicing what I preach because
Yeah, it's kind of
it
cool
really
when you
does
do.
work. And journaling was one of the big things, and I think I talked about this last time we talked, but it's like having a puzzle. You can't put a puzzle together if all the pieces are in the bag.
Mm,
You when you're putting the
gotta
puzzle
unpack.
together, you unpack that bag and you spread all the pieces out where you get a clear vision of what's going on and you can start putting the puzzle together.
And they're
It's the
not
same.
overlapping like on top of
e-
each other. You can see them all. Mm.
Exactly. So, and it's like that with our thoughts. When we keep our thoughts in our mind, it's like puzzle pieces on top of each other. It's stuck in the bag. It's all bundled up, and you can't do nothing with it. But as we're journaling, and I realized that with me recently over the past few months, is as I'm starting journaling, I can start putting pieces together of, okay,
Mm.
this is a common theme that keeps coming up. Let me put a little bit more attention to this and figure this out and see what's going on with this. Hey, this isn't showing up as often as I think it should. Let me start paying attention to that. And then again, it just helps to get all the bullshit out.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so cathartic to get it out. It's like, have you ever felt sick to your stomach and the split second you throw up, you feel so much better?
Yep. Yep.
Every damn time. That's exactly what I feel like what journaling is you're like, damn it, I don't want to do it. But the split second you do it, you're like, oh,
Yep.
yeah, I should have done that.
Yep. Yeah, it's the same thing. So it's just about getting it, getting that shit out, right? And that's
Mhm.
been a big thing for me as far as me recharging. Going to the question about what about me is journaling. Like I've been heavy on
Mhm.
that. Working out. I've when I've been working out over the past few months, I have been beating myself up.
Mm.
And it got to a point where I asked my coach, like, hey, I've been like going real hard in the gym. Like, I mean, like going crazy. And she was like, I'd rather you do that than you do something else.
Sure. Like anything in excess, yeah, because I mean, some of that stuff is still like escapism, but at least that one isn't, booze or
Yeah.
gambling or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And she was like, hey, but are you feeling better? I'm like, yeah. She like, you getting in better shape? I'm like, yeah. She like, okay, like it's a good
Yeah.
thing. And what are the reasons why you're working out so much? What are you trying to release? What are you trying to get away from?
Mhm.
So it's that going back, having that inner dialogue of, okay, what is the situations that's going on? And then we've talked about it, some of the situations of like going through certain things, and I'm like, okay, I need to just get this shit out, and working out, journaling has been my thing. So, and alone time. I'm the same way. I need alone time. I need to be by myself,
Mhm.
disconnect, and then I'm able to charge my battery up from that way.
Yeah. I feel like I used to never be alone, like, for so long, and, like, I definitely value it so much more now. Like, one of my favorite things to do, favorite, because I like energy, like, I like bustling, like, is I love to go to a bar or a restaurant, well, but, like, sit at the bar, like, order a cocktail maybe, and read my book. I fucking love it. I don't have to talk to anybody, but I'm like still like in this like energetic space. And it's so funny like how like that's definitely like one of those things like who knew that that was so like nourishing. Like I feel like I love doing it. It's crazy.
And that makes me think of like, okay, what am I? What are some things that I want to? I can do that just turns into that
Yeah.
that new thing for me where it's get in nature for one. Like I know I
Yeah.
have to. I go for jogs, but I feel like I need to where I'm not exerting myself, but just
Yeah,
relaxing
just
and
being.
yeah. So maybe I need to get my book and go sit at the park or something and what they call it frolicking. And maybe I need
Yeah,
to
you
frolic
can go
through
frolic and you can
frolic.
ground and take off your shoes and connect with the earth.
It's funny because somebody sent me a video and it's funny on IG and it says black man frolicking. And it was just a whole compilation of black dudes
I
just
bet
running.
that's adorable.
They're like, oh, so this is how it feels to just frolic and it was hilarious. But then I started thinking like,
But
damn,
to frolic, you have to feel safe, and that might not always be everybody's experience. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like,
So as we talk about that, and for the people that's listening, you all know that I'm very big on making sure that we leave you all with action items. So one of the things that Winnie said is, you know, what figuring out the things that you love to do that you haven't done in a while. It's like, oh damn, I haven't danced around the house in a while, and that's something I
mhm,
love to do. Or I haven't been for a jog in a while, and then to start reincorporating those things because what we know is, like you said, as we're putting the pieces to the puzzle together and we realize, oh, I haven't danced around and I haven't been in the best mood. Oh, maybe these things are in line with each other and I have
mhm,
to start doing that. So again, if you're looking, take account of what you love to do and you haven't been doing it, and then how have you been feeling by not doing those things,
yeah.
right?
One of my favorite questions to ask is, "What do you do that when you do it, time ceases to exist?"
Ooh,
It's my one of my favorite questions. And so, like, think about it like, we when we were in Vegas, we were dancing. I was dancing. And so literally I didn't know what time it was. Apparently it was 4 a.m. at one point.
yeah,
So
it
it's
was.
like because time fucking flies. It's like, what do you do that when you do it, time flies? Like a lot of the times for me, it's having really awesome conversations, like maybe like a corner dark, everybody else is doing their thing, and I'm just like having like this like super in-depth conversation, or maybe it's running, like, whatever it is for you. I mean, also like making out, like I think about that, like there's things in our that are so like visceral that you're like, oh, every time I do them, like time just fucking flies. Maybe it is
Yeah,
reading, maybe it's, I don't know, anything like that. So think about what do you do that when you do it, time ceases to exist, and try to incorporate more of that into your life. Cause that's when you're present. That's what I think about. Like, that's when you're the most present. You're in it. You're not thinking about anything else. You are right here now. And that phrase, be here now, like that's kind of like where that correlates. So I would
yeah.
like super meditate on that question. That's like one of my favorite ones.
And
Looking
and
at
it,
flowers. I'll look at flowers for 14 hours. They're so freaking cool.
I'm laughing because the older I get, the more of I want things to be slowed down. So when you're like, go
Yeah.
sit, look at the flowers, I'm like, you know what? That actually don't sound too damn bad to just go, because we deal with so much
I
stuff.
know. I'm
And
super
just
overstimulated.
yeah, and people, and for you all listening, I'm pretty sure you can relate to it. Work stuff, and then dealing with family stuff, and then dealing with trying to keep your health together, and then
I know.
like it's just so much stuff, and like you just said, overstimulated that you need that slow down and have that
Mhm.
downtime, or you're gonna go fucking crazy. Like you just be
Yeah.
honest, you're gonna go crazy, and we don't. You don't need that to happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think like it's almost important to like time block downtime. One of the things that's really cool. So back in the day, there was these things called fireside chats. If you remember this from history
Hmm.
or American lit, like where they literally would just time block, they would get together and they would just have conversations. And like there's, like inventors just time block to sit and think. And like one of the things that's really important is we're so like overstimulated, with dopamine and all these like because of the technology and all that kind of stuff. Like your brain can't your brain cannot be creative or imaginative when you're overstimulated. And so, like, part of the human experience is to imagine and to inspire and to discover and to experience. So, like, you really can't if you're overstimulated. So, like, creating these times when you're bored, creating times when, like, that's why meditation is so good for you. Like that was one of the things I did over the past couple of years is like learn multiple different types of meditation techniques because there isn't just one. Like everybody thinks there's like just one, clear your mind and that's it. Like there's like a lot of different meditation techniques. So like figuring out like those things so that you can then enhance your creativity and enhance your inspiration because that's when we get these amazing beautiful ideas and whenever we can like be in that flow state and that joy zone and just like discover new things whether it's about ourselves or maybe think of a new business or think of a new strategy or think of a new recipe. I mean, who gives a shit? It's all good. It's all cool.
I wonder, and you maybe you can dive into this with me. I wonder, do a lot of people avoid that alone time or avoid that boring time because they fear being in their thoughts.
Uh-huh. I
They fe-
agree.
they fear having to deal with that, and it's funny because I know for me when I was going through the bullshit and stuff, I realized that I have to go into that,
Yes.
and I like to call it that dark room.
Uh-huh.
The only way you're gonna be able to get through to the other side is you have to go through that room. Like it's like I look at it like a house. Like the only way to get to the other side of the house is you have to walk through this dark room, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't get to the other side unless you go through that. And I realized like that alone time is needed. And if you're listening, you have to figure out how to not stay in that dark room.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like one of the phrases, this is the only way out is through. And so
Yeah.
we always try to avoid it. We're like, well, let's try this strategy. Let's jump over the house. Let's go around the house. And it's like all that's going to happen is it's going to slap you upside the face again. So do you want to slap you upside the face in 5 years or in 10 years, or do you want to just like man up, be courageous, suck it up, and just be like, give it to me, like do it now. And I think like one of the things that I was wrong in whenever I was like going through this stuff was I was like, all right, so, something's not right. Like, I'm dealing with some shit, whatever. Let me think about it. That's not the fucking point. It's not the point. You don't need to think about it. You need to let yourself feel like shit sometimes. You need to let yourself feel grief, despair, anguish, anger. You need to allow yourself. These are beautiful emotions that are like, they are embedded in us and part of our human experience. So, like, they're so beautiful. And honestly, the more you can experience anguish and despair and all this kind of stuff, the more you can know joy and love and beauty. So, it's like, it really is. I'm like getting goosebumps. It's like, it really is like the only, like, you will expand so much greater. Just like we talked about at the very beginning when we were talking about that 8 blocks of Crayola that, if you're 0 to 10 range, when you go through this shit and you transmute, Google transmute if you don't know what that means. When you transmute this, like, say traumatizing thing or whatever, and not try to convince yourself or gaslight yourself to be happy, because that's some bullshit sometimes. I hate that. Like toxic positivity world, like that doesn't serve you. You need to sit in it. You need to be sad. You need to be angry. And then on the other side of it is like really cool. Like your range now you have a 0 to 100. Now you got the box of 164 Crayolas or, whatever it is, because you've just experienced so much more.
Yeah, it's that
in a soapbox a little bit.
No, but it's that accepting the situation, accept whatever it is, feel those emotions. I'm sad, I'm disappointed.
Release your thoughts about it.
Yeah, release, get it out, and then okay, now start moving forward, getting into action. After you release it,
And
you
then
got
what
out.
do I actually love? Who am I
Exactly.
after this shit?
Yeah, yeah. And I literally just had a thought of you said, what is something, think about things you haven't done in a while that you like. And I just thought about it. I don't know if this is because I'm a Pisces or what. I just started getting into that whole realm of things.
Oh, honey. Whew.
And I'm
We can
like,
go deep on that.
oh shit.
You need to swim.
I'll admit it. I haven't dreamed in a while. Like I haven't daydreamed. I haven't, and I'm like, I sat back like, holy shit. Like I used to just at random just start daydreaming about this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I want. And then I realized like I haven't done that in so long. And I'm like, okay,
You kind of have
something's
to be
wrong.
bored to do it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, something's wrong because I'm not visualizing what I want to happen, the things I want, this and that. And it just clicked as we're talking because I kept running it back in my mind as we're talking, where you're like, what's something you haven't done in a while that, you know,
Yeah.
you when you do, you're excited. And that was one of the things I haven't
Oh,
done in
I
a while.
love that. I love that. I thought you were going to say like be near the water because you're a
Oh,
Pisces.
that is, listen, I
Yeah.
sleep with ocean sounds every
Do
night
you? I love
because of
that. That's so perfect.
like, oh yeah, water is my thing. Like that's it. That's why when I came out there and we went and sat by the water, I was in heaven. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I realized I haven't daydreamed in a while. That's my thing.
So
I
now you
am.
have to figure out like how to create a ritual around daydreaming more often. That's like incorporate your senses so that you can like drop into that, be like, all right, this is my daydreaming corner of the house. Or
Yeah.
like, this is the music that I play, or this is, the incense that I burn, or I don't know, whatever, your favorite candle or whatever, so that you can just like drop in.
That is very big. Let's not skim over that. For you all listening, how are you setting an environment and a mood for
Mhm.
what you're looking to do?
It's a
Like,
ritual. If you
yeah,
like, just like fellowship and us breaking bread, that's a ritual,
yeah,
and the tradition around it and the safety around it and like helps you drop in faster when you identify what helps you do that.
all right. So again, if you're listening or you're watching, here's another piece of the puzzle of what is your ritual? What and I realized for me, I'm realizing everything as we're talking that I
I
have a
love it.
ritual. I have a ritual when I'm reading, right? I
Yeah.
put on my ocean sounds, I light a candle, and that is my ritual for me to read because up until recently it was so hard for me to concentrate when reading. Like my mind would
Yeah.
just start going everywhere else. That now I have the ritual. I light a candle, I have my ocean sounds playing. That put me in the space of no, you're reading, you're focusing on this book, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
So
And allowing yourself to do that without
yes,
judgment.
yes.
That you don't have to
So
be productive all day. That is productive. That's so productive.
it's that whole thing of filling up our batteries, our own batteries.
Mhm.
Like you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't be everything for everybody else, but you're not being those things for yourself. It all plays a part of that. And if you're listening again, what is your ritual? What is your ritual? What do you
Mhm.
do when you need to hone in or put yourself in a better mood? How does your environment what's the word I'm looking for? Does your environment promotes that?
Yeah, is it
Right?
conducive?
Yeah,
Yeah. Not even conducive though, you're right. Is it like promoting it? Like conducive, I feel like passive, like promoting it is like encouraging it.
yeah. And we learned that in grammar school. Like, hey, you got a test today, so get some rest. Make sure you eat a good breakfast.
Mm.
It's creating that ritual to put you in the mindset of I am finna have a test and I'm gonna pass the test because I got some rest. I had a great breakfast. I did these things before getting to school, and now I'm finna have a good test.
Yeah,
Right?
that's perfect.
So we have to do those things. So that's the task I want for you all to figure out what is your thing, what is your environment, what is the mood you need set for the things that you want to do to be able to be all in on doing those things at that moment. Right?
I love it.
So what I know you are a Halloween person. Like that
I do
that
like Halloween.
that is
I like some spooky stuff.
that is your thing. And it's funny because it's completely funny because I'm a Christmas person, and I always think
I
about
love
that.
Christmas too now. Don't get me wrong.
But I look at it as the way you are with Halloween, I am with Christmas, and I'm like that kind of. It feel like it should be the opposite, but it's not. But again, I think that comes back to that time that puts you in a certain mood that
Yeah.
puts you in a space, and it's all like again the pieces of the puzzle is coming together as we talk, and I'm like during Christmas time I am in the best mood
You
ever.
probably have a ritual too. Like when
Yeah.
you decorate, what your house smells like going to see certain family members, like what movies you watch. That's all ritual. And it's safe. It's creating this safe space because it's known and it's comfortable.
Mm.
I
I'm
know. Doesn't it feel nice?
it's just thinking about it, and when you have clarity around things
Hmm.
and you have an understanding of things like talking about today, now it's about being more purposeful about those things to capitalize on them to
Yeah.
really benefit from those things in those situations. Okay. Now journaling, you said that's something that
Have an
you're looking to do.
opportunity to do.
You have an opportunity to.
So I've created a few times when I force myself to do it because every time I do it, then I feel good, right? But it's not a habit yet. So I have there's like two kind of rituals that I'm like starting to create around it, but I haven't completely done it yet. It's not a habit. It took me like 3 years of telling my coach I wanted to read every night before I read. And now I read every night. So I literally was like, I want to do this. Hold me accountable. And he's like, okay. And then finally, it's just like one day I was like, I couldn't not read because my brain was like, it was going too much and I needed to slow it down. So it's like, eventually it happened. So I feel like one day it's just going to click. And it's like, I do need to create a ritual around it.
Yeah. With that, I want to ask this question because since you're a avid reader, you love to read. If you could recommend, I would say two books. If you could
Okay.
recommend two books to people, what would those books be?
Okay. My One of my first books, and this one's just really important to me, and I think about it all the time, is Radical Candor. And it's by Kim Scott. And really, she just talks about how to be radically fucking honest with people. And like from a place of respect, from a place of love, from a place of trusting yourself that it's going to be received appropriately, because that's like how you build courage. And really, that's how you don't lose yourself, like if you're doing stuff for other people and not for you, then you lose yourself. That's what happens. And then the other book, there's so many books. And then this is just nonfiction. I would say The Four Agreements. I feel like that one's like a really good one to just read every year. I feel like honestly, every time I read that, I feel like it's a slap in the face or a punch to my gut because like I need to remember those things every time. And I'm like, shit, like every single time that book is like a backhand. So I think it's a really important one.
That is important to remember for everybody that's big on reading, that you're not the same person, you're not in the same situation that you were when you first read a book. So
Hmm.
when you read it again, you will catch something different from it. And that's how it
Yeah.
was for me with reading The Untethered Soul.
That's a good
Like
that is a good one. I got goosebumps again. That's a really good one.
the the
Your
first
thoughts
time
are
I
not you.
yeah, the first time I read that book, one section of it hit me like a ton of bricks. This last time I read it, that section had no effect on me. This other section with, like you said, a punch in the gut, punch in the face, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. So what I've been doing is, and for anybody that struggles with the obsession to just keep buying books because people recommend good books, is that I do
Mm.
2 books a month. One of the books is a reread, and then the other book is a new book.
Wow.
And then that
Yeah.
way I'm able to go back and again, I'm a different person, different place. That book hits different, and then I have the new book to catch up with a lot of my reading. So
Yeah.
that's been something I've been working through. It's been a little struggle with traveling, but
Yeah.
I've been doing it. But that's why I end up getting back in Untethered Soul, and I'm like, holy shit, this came right on time, right when I needed it the most.
And so I was an English lit and like business marketing major. So I read so many like fiction books in school and then stopped. I stopped reading fiction books until 2 years ago, and maybe a year and a half ago. And I realized like how important reading fiction is sometimes. And I mean, sometimes it might be mindless, don't get me wrong, but like sometimes it improves your language, it improves your imagination, if you're able to kind of like visualize the world or the characters or the scene that they're setting. So that's like another thing too, is like feel like for me these days that's been one of my biggest reincorporations, especially as I'm like kind of digging in more to like my creativity and the branding side of things, is like making sure that I'm like yeah, using my imagination, daydreaming, like it helps you visualize stuff, like not everybody has the ability to see in their mind's eye. I didn't know if y'all knew that, but I thought that everybody could, but not everybody can see in their mind's eye. So don't take that for granted that we have an ability to visualize things, when we close our eyes that we can see things. So that's one of the cool things too I suggest.
And for me, that is going to be something I'm going to incorporate now because for who all that don't know, I am a big Harry Potter nerd, and I collect the different illustrations of the same damn books. I probably got like 7 or 8 different illustrations of the same book, and it's like, put to your point of being able to just not have to overthink. Because when you're reading business books,
Yeah.
self-help books, you're taking notes, you're really internalizing,
You're internalizing. Yeah.
and this is a way to, like you said, just dream and just be free. So maybe moving
It's
forward,
tapping into this more, really more like feminine, creative, nurturing, like energy, which all of us have. So it's tapping in on like more to like earth energy, which is why I like Halloween. So
and maybe that's my new thing is instead of reading one new book and one old book a month, now I'm gonna put it in one business book and one, fictional book to help with that counterbalance of things. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Especially because you're an instructor, and you teach around. So like having like more language, more creativity with how you articulate to people, like is a cool idea.
Oh, perfect. Well, we are getting up on to time, and I'm just grateful for you that you were able to, lock in for us to re-record with the whole debacle of everything. And
I love how this conversation was like 90% different than our last
it
one.
was totally different.
Completely different. I
It
love
was,
that though.
it
Slap
was,
out the seat of our pants.
it was completely different. And it's like that same example of, reading a book, you're at a total different place than you was
Yeah.
from that time. I know for me, I was in a completely total different mindset
Yeah.
during that time as opposed to now. So it flowed good. Like we had some conversation. I had a lot of oh shit moments and light bulb moments of oh okay now this makes sense and I'm gonna do this different. I'm gonna do that. So it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I just value that we can like spitball together. So I appreciate you taking the time with me as well.
Oh, my pleasure. And one thing that I do now is if you could leave the listeners with a piece of advice or something, what would that be?
Oh, I do think that I would say like learn to tap in to connect your okay, here. This is going to be I'm going to make it as short-winded as I can. So, I went to a silent meditation retreat and they said this is the definition of peace. And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm all ears. I have my notebook out, I'm ready to rock." And they said, "All right, the definition of peace is when your actions align with your words and your words align with your thoughts."
Ooh.
Okay. All right. Take it deeper though. I love that. Like when your actions align with your words align with your thoughts. But what about when your thought aligns with your heart and your heart aligns with your gut and your fucking knowing? You know shit. We know shit, but our brain tries to convince us otherwise. Hence, untethered soul. So my thought is like develop not just your intellect and your words and your actions, like be a doer, don't get me wrong, but like tap into like your heart, and your heart sometimes is wrong. That's why we have our brain, that's why we have our gut, that's why we have our guides and the feedback from others. But that's an opportunity to like tap into your actual gut, which is your truest, deepest knowing. And yeah, that
Okay, I will say this. That was heavy.
that was good, isn't it?
That was good. That was
Literally, he said that, and I was like, "Oh shit, mic drop, dude."
because as you're saying, that's one thing I do, and I'm gonna wrap it up. But that's one thing I loved about this episode that we just did because when you were saying things, it made me start thinking and start again putting shit together. Like, oh, okay, and that is the perfect way for us to mic drop it in this. Thank you for that. That was heavy and that was great. All right, everybody. This is Coach Coleman, Jesse Coleman. Thank you for rocking with us again for another episode of Breakthrough Blueprint, the podcast where we help you tap into your full potential. And we'll see you next week. Peace.